Good morning. Welcome to my big backyard. It is a beautiful day and it is the end of March. The last weekend of March, I believe, is today. And we're going to take a look at what's going on in my backyard. How's spring looking here in Delaware? As you can see, first off, I did a little bit of a project. I kind of made myself a poor man's patio out here with just some weed fabric so that I could put my pots somewhere other than my walkway this year. And I have moved my fruit trees out, although I will have to put them back inside this coming week. I can't promise that there won't be any freezes, and I do not want them to be out here when it's freezing. But as you can see, they're doing fantastic. So I've got blossoms on my lime tree, as well as a lime. I've got blossoms on my Chernoi mandarin and baby mandarins forming. Some of them are going to fall off. I've got blossoms on my lemon and a number of lemons forming. And this is my other mandarin. It's not blooming or anything, but it's green and healthy. And here's my little avocado tree. I'm not sure if I'll end up keeping that or not, but there it is. But now for the important stuff, the spring stuff in the yard. And as you can see, the daffodils are blooming. They look great. So we're going to go and take a look at some of the things blooming around my yard. I did mow the whole yard for the first time yesterday. So we'll start right up here up front. I've got some gorgeous daffodils that haven't started blooming yet. My mum here, this is a mum that I planted last fall and it's come back, so that's good. This tree hasn't started yet, but it's still nice and smooth and bendy, so that'll be good. Some pretty daffodils. I like the different varieties that I have here. It's nice to have so many varieties. Forgive the weird camera movements. I'm just not used to trying to use this gimbal setup. So check that out. Some gorgeous daffodils, as well as, look at all the hellebore. Now, yes, I only have one hellebore in bloom, and it's beautiful. You can see it back there. But I do have a lot of other hellebore, small ones that I got for nothing, that I've planted in here, and they're growing slowly. And eventually one day they'll be big enough and healthy enough to flower for me. This is a great location for hellebore, so I'm not too worried. The Heucherel Corabelles plants that I got for free from a neighbor last year are still doing swell. Some daffodils. Now, last year at the end of the year, a city nearby gave away all of their tulips. They dig them up every year and give them away. And what I did was dig some, well, I didn't dig them up. I got them out of the big pile of mystery tulips and I planted them here. I'm not really expecting a lot this year from them. They didn't necessarily have time to build up any good energy in their leaves last year. But look, they have all come up. And one or two even have buds showing inside, so I will get a few tulip flowers out of this. I'm not sure exactly what they'll look like, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Tulips are always a mystery here. If they don't get eaten by the squirrels, they come up, right? Some more. I really like this particular variety of daffodil. Look at that coloration. Like, these are just really pretty. I got some plain yellow in the back there. Yellow flowers, yellow trumpets, and some yellow and orange there. Some more daffodils are coming up here, but no flowers yet. One of the coolest things I have is back in the woods behind my house is some of this bloodroot stuff. It's a beautiful flower, and it's native here, and I've dug some up from back in the woods and put it in my garden, hoping to keep it going for a long time. I've got my echinaceas coming up again. lilies are coming up. Of course, onion grass and things. I don't really clean up enough stuff here. I just kind of let it go. A little bit wild. It looks like this purple poppy mallow that I planted last year is coming back. That there's a peony. I don't know what color it is. We'll find out. A tulip. And some sedum. The Japanese anemone that I've got through here is growing everywhere. And of course the irises. I have quite a few irises poking around. You can see all the different varieties as you look back through here. Some more daffodils and peonies. And of course this is all echinacea coming up. Different colors, I think. We'll see. I moved last year. There was, right here in this spot, there was a butterfly bush, and I dug it up last year and moved it. It was just taking up too much space right here. It was too large for being this close to the front of the flower bed. But prettily enough back here, you've got the vinca blooming and growing. I'm not sure whether vinca is a good idea or a bad idea. It's certainly better than English ivy. I've heard maybe that's a little bit invasive, but it's here and it's looking beautiful. And as long as my other things come up around it and through it, I'm perfectly happy to have it here. It also does well in shady-ish areas, so I was kind of hoping they would end up spreading back here some. But one of the other things we have back here is bleeding heart. Yes, it's not blooming yet. So I've got all the different bleeding heart that I've transplanted from other places back here. And these bushy plants are a bluebell of sorts that will bloom. They love the shade. So this spot right here is very, very shady between the fence and the shed. It's just incredibly shady, hardly gets any light during the day. So it's really kind of important that I get something going back here. There's some hostas back here too, but they don't do much. We'll see if they come up. My creeping phlox looks great here. That'll be blooming out soon. It's a spring bloomer. Likes the sun, so it's not creeping back at all. Let's walk through here. So like I said, more daffodils growing through here. They look amazing. I really just like how wild and pretty this garden looks. Now I've been trying for a few years to get this particular, it's a hydrangea. And it just does terribly here. I mean, maybe I'll dig it up and move it if it doesn't do something this year, but it really just does nothing. It's been here a few years. It's kind of pathetic. It was one of those 50% off Summer Crush hydrangeas from Lowe's a few years ago. But I do have some hollyhocks. These are second-year hollyhocks growing here. They didn't bloom for me at all before, so we'll see what happens. I've got a hole in the ground that something's dug through my iris tubers. And if you look, this is all columbine. I sprinkled columbine seed back here, so there's columbine everywhere. And one more hollyhock that survived the winter. As well as lilies that grow in here every year. And the color on these, I just love that bright yellow with the bright yellow center with the orange on the outside gradient. It's so pretty. Right here is my lilac, and look, I have lilac. Oh, it's not focused. Well, anyway, there's buds on the lilac tree that are going to bloom. And there's definitely buds on these tulips here. And one little teeny grape hyacinth. There's another one right there actually too. So as we go through here, I have some really fat tulip buds forming in here. I'm not sure. They look like they got chewed on before they started to come up. So there's a grape hyacinth in here too. We'll see what happens. things get eaten. Just another swing around to these because I love them. So, another thing that I was excited about, other than the perennials that I've planted are coming back, one thing that's coming back that I wasn't sure would make it is these poppies. That's a poppy. And there's one more. I can't find it right this second, but there's another one too. And I was thinking that the poppies wouldn't necessarily make it because sometimes it's a little moist over here and they're more drought tolerant than some of the other stuff that I have in here. Now this, I love this. I planted this for the first time last year. This is a pasque flower and it's so pretty. One of the blooms is almost done already, but that one is there. And I've got others coming up, buds are forming. So that's exciting. I don't even know what all of these plants are that are in here. I didn't really label them properly. And sometimes, even if you do use the plastic labels, God, I'm really bad with this thing. There we go. Even if you do use the plastic labels, they disappear. And of course I've got some Star of Bethlehem and some weedy stuff in here that sort of an invasive flower that I kind of leave be anyway because digging it up is hard and I just want stuff to be pretty anyway, so they will be pretty. There's a peony in this cage. It's just not popping up yet, but it's pretty huge. I don't even know what is in this spot. So I guess I'm going to have to wait and see. I think it is a second pawpaw tree, but I don't know where it is. My pawpaw isn't leafing out yet, and this doesn't appear to be anything. So we'll see what happens. I did plant a second pawpaw because you need two, but I don't know what's going to happen with that. Or to be honest, even if I like eating pawpaws. But they are native, and I do like to try to support the native plants in amongst my other things. So here we have more daffodils. Some of these are doubles. They're pretty. As we come along here, this is where I buried my cat last year. I planted some echinacea here and a couple different kinds of grasses. One of the echinaceas you can see is coming up again. The other day I got some free river birch trees. So I planted the river birch trees right here too. So I'm not really sure that the grasses are going to come back, although I'll plant some other things. And I'll probably plant some more flowers in the front of that later on. So back here, right here is a dogwood tree that I dug up. It's really going to be hard to see on camera because it's just a stick amongst sticks. But there's a dogwood here and it still looks like it's alive. So here's hoping. As we look up, the red buds are about to pop and put on their show for the season. I've got a bunch of them around here. And the vinca is back there in the woods as well. So if you see back there in the woods, the white spots on the ground back there, that's all the bloodroot. And it just grows here. It's a native plant that just happens to be growing in these woods back here. I didn't plant it, and it spreads everywhere, and it grows underneath all of these leaves. You can see it back there too. It comes up every year in amongst all these piles of sticks and leaves and debris. It's really cool. But I just, like I said, I moved some of it to where I can actually see it and enjoy it in the spring. But left the rest back here to grow wild like it likes. So come back here through the vinca. Now we're getting out to what my meadow is. So as you can see, I've already mowed down the meadow for the season. I wanted to get it completely mowed before any of the daffodils came up. And there's also some, I don't know if it's Dutch Irish iris or yeah, I think it's Dutch iris, the skinny little iris. There's some of that in here too. So I mowed it completely so that I could see the daffodils, and now the daffodils are clearly up. And then I mowed the trails that are through here yesterday. So some of them are blooming already, not all. We've got some back here. Now I burned this section this season, and I sprinkled down some more seed that I had, and I burned a couple of the other spots as well. You really can't tell what I burned. I burned a section of this right here and a bit of this over here so that I could get to the ground and sprinkle down some seeds prior to mowing. The problem with a big thick meadow is that if you don't mow it, there's like no ground exposed. And then how do you get seeds to get to the ground without getting eaten? All of the echinacea that you see growing here, all of these plants, these were here before. This is not stuff that is from seed. I'm not sure I'll even know if some of the seed grown stuff comes up, to be honest. But as you can see, this spot here, the row of daffodils, used to be the front of the meadow, and then I added a whole nother portion recently. Last year or the year before, I added this. This is all, it's got a bunch of native plants and chicory growing in here. Chicory is beautiful. I love the blue flowers, but all of that stuff grows here. And then I added again to the front of the meadow this past year an additional strip. Yes, this looks just like it's just lawn, and right now there's not much to see, but there are a few little perennials in here that I planted last year. I planted rows of plugs, not rows, but I planted plugs in various locations in this area. I mowed this strip once this season, and I'm not going to mow it again. The grass will just have to grow tall, and the perennials will have to grow in it, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, so essentially that's my front yard. My backyard, my big backyard, and all of the plants that are growing in it this year. I'm gonna stop this recording for a second, and then we'll walk over to the cactus garden. Well, before we go to the cactus garden, I thought I would just show you this flower bed. This is basically the surroundings of my weeping willow, and there's some really pretty daffodils in here. Tons and tons of daffodils is basically what's growing here, as well as some ajuga, which hasn't started flowering yet, but it'll flower this summer. I need to trim the willow just a little bit. It's not the best to mow through all of this, and I'm riding around on the lawnmower and getting caught on it. But anyway, so there's the flower bed under the willow. I will be planting some plants underneath the willow to see if they'll climb the tree again this year. Some philodendron bits, things like that. If we have a wetter, humider summer, they should do better. Maybe if I water them. It's always helpful to water your plants. So, anyway, now to the cactus garden. Just for a quick look. So as you can see, everything that's in the outdoor cactus garden pretty much has survived the winter. It's still looking as good as it ever did, and hopefully we get some flowering cactuses this spring. I'm sure we will. As you can see, the prickly pear is already starting to perk up, and it stands up way more in the summer, like in the spring. In the winter, it just kind of flops over completely. The agaves seem to have survived the super cold, and it did get quite cold here. And there's already new petals forming and probably buds forming on this prickly pear. So that's exciting. Over here, we've got some ground cover I planted. My clematis is starting to leaf out nicely. And I planted Major Wheeler honeysuckle right here last year. That's greened up tremendously already, and that is going to be, hopefully, climb up with my clematis and be a hummingbird magnet. That's the goal with that. I have planted under these trees a little bit of sedum because I just like how it fills the space. Obviously, it's not the season for my trees to really wake up yet, so the crepe myrtles still look like sticks. But the Japanese maple is budded up nicely, and underneath there's even some California poppies still growing. So not a lot going on here. My little herb pot's doing fine. I've got sage and rosemary in here. And my echinacea is popping up all over in this pot. So another Japanese maple here. This is the coral bark Japanese maple, and as you can see, beautiful red bark, and it is starting to leaf out as well. The contrast of the leaves and the bark on this tree is really nice. So let's see. Haven't done much with the front porch yet, but the front yard garden still have some crocus showing. I've got tulips popping. My peonies are popping up. There's something about the spring garden, like even though it's a little bit weedy and a little bit trashy, that's really my fault. But just seeing the little bits of color pop up. And here, another poppy. So that one survived as well, and I'm really excited about that. They should be bright orange, if I remember correctly. And some more crocus. Another Japanese maple. This one has the red leaves. It's a Bloodgood Japanese maple, I think. We got iris in this one corner. And then, hey, we're back in the backyard. So, yeah, I keep my backyard mostly neat. It's a little bit, it looks beautiful from a distance. You get up close, you see that I'm a little messy and a little weedy. But you know, that just makes it more interesting. So, anyway, hope you enjoyed the video update.